Arizona Republican AZ Central Newsroom. I'm Richard Rellis here with columnist Robert Robb. And as you point out, Ducey was animated during certain parts of the State of the State. And one of them was when he was talking about taxes.
But for those of you who don't know me that well yet, spoiler alert, we're not going on a spending spree. But old habits die hard for the spending lobby. There's a chorus of special interests scheming, plotting, and clamoring for new and higher taxes. They don't seem to understand the reasons our new residents are coming here. It isn't to import those bad out-of-state policies. It's to escape them. No new taxes. Not this session, not next session, not here in this chamber, not at the ballot box, not on my watch.
But in your mind, the governor talking about not going on a spending spree and not having taxes raised on his watch seems like you don't fully buy.
There's a large discrepancy between this kind of rhetoric, which sort of is the Doug Ducey that first ran for governor in 2014, and the way Ducey is actually governed in office. In his first year, he inherited a huge deficit. There were spending cuts that year. But since then, there's been really robust growth in state spending. There's also been money put aside in the rainy day fund, so I guess the governor would argue that even though there's been large increases in state spending, that doesn't constitute a spree because you're not spending at all.
They also might argue about the state growing.
Yeah, but the increase in spending has, after the first year, vastly exceeded population growth and inflation. So there's no question that under Governor Ducey's watch, after the first year, there's been substantial real per person increases in state spending. I think that's completely warranted given how much state programs were cut prior to cope with the recession. But it doesn't comport with his I'm going to stand up to the spending lobby.
And what about taxes?
This one is even more curious because there were two significant tax increases that not only were enacted on Ducey's watch, but for which he was principally responsible. We've discussed previously the infamous safety fee when you register a vehicle that now is scheduled to be repealed. Ducey insists that this isn't a tax, but it goes to pay for the State Department of Public Safety, and public safety is a general governmental program, and certainly when people write the check, it doesn't feel any different than a tax. And then when the subject of conforming with the changes in federal tax law that were enacted as a result of the Trump reforms, the state was due to get a large windfall. As a result of conforming. State taxpayers would pay a lot more. Legislators wanted to give it back, either through tax rate reductions or increases in the standard deduction. Ultimately, the windfall was partially offset for future years, but Ducey insisted that it be taken by the state in the first year. And it's in reality, he has governed more as a prudent centrist than as this fire-breathing, I'm going to stand up to the spending lobby, no tax increases on my watch, guy that makes cameo appearances in these kind of settings. And given how successful he's been politically with the way that he's governed, it's just curious to me why this guy, who never showed up for work, still keeps making appearances at settings like the State of the State.
And of course, the letter should go to Robert at ArizonaRepublic.com.